Folks, welcome to Bunch Formation After Sunset. I'm
Be
Chris.
fast.
I'm Chris Vannini. He's David Ubben. We got the playoffs rankings show starting right now. We're going live, watching it. We're going to react to this live together. Feel free to leave any questions, comments, thoughts in the rankings. In the comment section. And then once the rankings are all revealed, we will kind of reset and give our full take on it. By the way, I am watching this live now. I got around the YouTube TV problem. I copped my parents' Xfinity login, and that works on the ESPN app, which is on my Roku.
Good. I don't know what we're missing with Virtual Reese, but we'll see. I'm curious, Chris. The biggest villains in Denton, Texas, right now are first carbon emissions. Second, me. I'm curious if the committee joins us tonight.
Are you still hearing it?
Oh, yeah, a little bit. They're all right. They are angry, but they are few. They're not quite as crushing as like if you get I got a lot of experience with Tennessee fans being mad at me or who else? Oh, Iowa State's been probably the maddest. Tennessee's probably number one. Iowa State's probably number two. Texas Tech's probably like number three. Back in the day a few times. Oh, A&M's up there. A&M's in the top five. So, we got a lot of experience.
Top five in the David hating and in the rankings, surely.
I
will say, people people will complain about preseason ratings and then complain that we get the CFP show. Like, the whole point is that they're not taking preseason stuff into account and that they're waiting 2/3 of the way through the season to do it. So, that should be the way you want it. And no, they don't take their cues from the AP poll. It's the other way around. You will see.
100% sure. Last year, it wasn't very pronounced, but generally, yes, it does happen.
Yes, you will see teams that are higher in the CFP rankings than they normally are that end up lower, and then they move a spot in the poll simply because of what they were in the CFP.
Yeah.
So, all right, we got
by the way, if you're just joining us, this is not an official show. We are just sort of hanging out, so enjoy it. By the way, Boog looks slim. Boog's looking good these days.
He does, yeah. Booger McFarland. Yeah, that's a good point. You might be a couple seconds ahead of me. I don't love a brown suit though.
Well, that's all right. A smaller Boog.
He makes it work.
Using Mucinex, I guess.
Is it the vertical pinstripes though that make him?
No, he's a smaller human being.
Yeah.
He's a part of the large head community, like I am myself, and when he's slimmed down, it's much more noticeable. So.
Ian in the chat, thanks for the live reaction. Since I have YouTube TV, I am right there with you, Ian. If you didn't hear at the beginning, I do have it up live. I was able to grab my parents' Xfinity login. So that's my strategy right now. So we will, as these rankings come out, we will say what they are. So if anybody who's not watching it at the moment,
I do hate the bracket reveal, but it is what it is. It's sort of a necessary evil. It's the walking personification of this entire meeting. Could have been an email, and once we get into it, I do kind of just see the email, all right, who moved? But the first one's always interesting, and then of course the last one is must see TV. So.
Yes, you remember who the number one team was in the very first one, right?
Mississippi State.
Mississippi State.
There you go. I don't know that they'll be number one this week. I will say, Chris, there is not anything like the energy, and especially last year, but the energy of that Sunday morning final reveal. It is.
Oh man, the last couple of days, couple of years, you're like, oh boy, committee. Most years the committee did not have to make a tough call.
Yeah, and but there's so many different things now. It's who hosts, who's on the road, who's in.
When they left Florida,
with no auto bids in the top four, there's gonna be even more things the committee can get people angry. I don't know. If it gives better early round games, I'm good with it.
When Florida State got left out, I wrote that this is going to be the new norm for the committee because now they're going to have to make so many more difficult decisions. For people who don't know, they removed, like David just said, they removed the auto bid for the top 4 conference champions. It's now just seeded 1 through 12. The 5 conference champions get an automatic spot in the field, and then they're seeded that way. So that's the slight change this year. We don't know what's going to happen next year. It's very much trending toward continuing the 12 team this way next year because they can't come to an agreement on expansion. But
we're doing a lot of song and dance as usual. I hate the first 15 minutes of this because we don't see a team for a while, right?
All right, we're finally. Looks like we're finally getting started. About 6 minutes in, we're getting started. We'll start at the bottom, I presume.
I don't have the audio because we're
okay.
On
Number.
Show,
all right, here we go. You react. Number 25, Tennessee. Which I have Tennessee just outside. All right,
I'm a little behind you.
Pitt. Good for Pitt. I put Pitt in the top 25. I think they should be there. 5-0 with Mason Heinzel at quarterback. So 25 Tennessee, 24 Pitt. And we're talking.
You're a little bit ahead of me, Chris. So you're gonna have to read this off.
That's the beauty of not having. I'm not even the one with cable. You're the one who's supposed to.
I have cable, but I'm streaming. I mean, I have cable, but I stream on the app for the cable. So.
23 Washington.
All right.
Oh, this is pretty close to what my rankings were, if I do say so. Washington's problem is they don't have a great win. You know, they beat Illinois. Number 22, Missouri.
Interesting.
That's a lot lower than
Chris. Do you feel? Are we already pretty confident that there's going to be no G5 teams in the top 25?
Yes. Yeah. They're always the G5 is always left out, or especially early on. They're always underranked. Number 21, Michigan. So yeah, Missouri, 19 in the AP poll, 22 in the CFP. So they moved down a bit because they don't have a great win.
Yeah, they don't. Their Missouri's resume is really bad. Their best win is probably Kansas, and that's not a great win.
Which is why I think it's possible that I think Indiana could end up number 1 here. By the way, because of that, if they're going to lean on wins, which they seem to be doing here early on. Number 20, Iowa. Wow. Well, I take back what I just said because Iowa's lacking great wins. You know what? That's another case for Indiana number 1, by the way. They've got a top 20. They got 2 top 20 wins, Indiana does, because they beat Iowa.
Oregon and Iowa. Yeah.
Iowa and Oregon on the road.
Yeah. That's pretty impressive. Yeah. I think I'm with you. I think Indiana's going to be number 1. The only case for Ohio State is just eye test, but like Indiana's not exactly failing the eye test. I would say
I've had Indiana number 1. I've had Indiana number 1 for weeks, and if they end up number 1 in the CFP, I'm going to feel so vindicated for all those Ohio State fans who are complaining in the comments of my ranking every week. Number 20, Iowa. Number 19, USC. Pretty good Big Ten rankings here so far. USC had to be ahead of Michigan. They weren't last week in the polls, which made no sense. Guys, they played each other, and USC won. Number 18, Miami. Holy cow. That is a big-time drop. I had Miami at 11 because, to me, you have to keep I think you still have to keep Miami ahead of Notre Dame because of the head-to-head. But clearly the committee does not.
In our CFP rank, or our Austin Mox ratings, they were 84% going into the week. They're now 15.
Yeah, I was at that SMU game. They've got 2 losses by 1 score. But number 17, Georgia Tech. So we got 20 Iowa, 19 USC, 18 Miami, 17 Georgia Tech. That's about where I had Georgia Tech as well. Yep, exactly.
I'm not seeing anything that people should be mad about, of course.
No, the Miami one right now. Miami is the discussion point.
Yeah.
16 Vanderbilt. That is also exactly where I had them.
Mm-hmm.
So Miami's tough because like if you have them higher, you then have to put them over Notre Dame, and so if you don't want to, you have to put them low. All right, number 15, Louisville. You know, number 15, Louisville. I had Louisville at 10 because I had to put them ahead of Miami, and I had to put Miami ahead of Notre Dame. 15, Louisville. 14, Virginia. I'm still not sensing any consistency with the committee here. To have Miami that low, it appears. Number 13, Utah. That is, where did I have Utah?
That seems high.
I had Utah at 18. Utah in the polls is 17. 13.
That bodes well for a 2-bid Big 12.
That does bode well because we're gonna have BYU and Texas Tech here still too.
Mm-hmm.
So 15 Louisville, 14 Virginia, 13 Utah. Interesting. This means, oh, by the way, this means Virginia is going to be in the field. They are the highest ranked ACC team.
Yeah.
So Virginia in at the moment.
If fake brackets are your thing, the rankings are interesting because it sets the stage for kind of the rest of the season. I could care less about the bracket.
No, obviously, yeah, Virginia, and you guys still got to play it out. Number 12, Oklahoma. But
does Virginia hang a banner in their stadium that says was in the first bracket of the 2025?
Dude, for a team that was 11-23 the previous 2 years, like, I'd be ecstatic.
Yeah.
12 Oklahoma, 11 Texas, which I think is fair. You have to put Texas ahead of Oklahoma. You just do.
Yeah.
So
that game's not close.
Yeah, so far, only thing I'm surprised at is Utah so high and Miami so low. Like, you could flip Utah and Miami, and I think, like, that's totally normal.
Yeah, but I mean, Miami has much better wins. Arizona State's not in the field.
Right. That's what that's what I'm saying.
Cincinnati not in the field.
No, but they just got destroyed. Comment from
but I'm just saying.
I can't pronounce comment guide something. First time seeing your face. Chris
guide.
There you go. Chris looks like the guy I buy my shawarma from. Look, that's better than being
0% chance you've had shawarma before, Chris.
Yeah, I have not. I was called Jewish Baker Mayfield on TikTok. So there's that. I get a lot of Baker Mayfields. Number 10, Notre Dame. I strongly believe Notre Dame kind of got the benefit of losing early. And as opposed to teams getting their second losses, now, you fall when you lose. And it may benefit you to lose earlier in the season than later in the season.
Yeah.
Which I don't really agree with. Like, you could say Notre Dame's playing great, Miami's not playing great. That's fine. To me, Notre Dame and Miami are in the same general tier. And if they are, I think you still have to have Miami over them for now. But
yeah.
Committee doesn't agree.
It seems like the committee is respecting the Big 12. That's kind of my only real takeaway is that we're gonna have two top 10, two top 9 teams.
Top 9. Number 9, Oregon. Hey, I'm the guy who's had Oregon lower than everybody else. For that reason, they haven't beaten anybody. Oregon is only where they are because their name is Oregon, frankly. They've been like top 5, top 6 in the polls all year.
I mean, you get a rep bounce from beating Penn State that goes away. Like, at the time.
Yeah.
I think they beat a Penn State team. Like I don't think you can say, oh, they haven't beat anybody. Like, the Penn State that they beat ceases to exist. But, like, they did beat a really good Penn State team. Penn State no longer a really good team.
That Penn State just lost to UCLA. That's not a really good Penn State. You can't say it's a
I think you can. I think you can watch that game and say that's a pretty good team and recognize that the team that played against UCLA,
talented team.
The team that played against Northwestern, is not the same team that Oregon played. It's just not. Like,
then I guess, well, if it's not the same team, even if it's the same roster and coaches and everything, it's a different team, though. I guess that kind of impacts how you view it. Apparently, that's how it goes. But no, I had Oregon down at like 9 or 10 as well because their best win is Northwestern. Like, that's it.
Is it
number 8?
Come on.
Yes. What do you mean? Is it? Who's their best win? Penn State's like 3 and 5.
Full strength Penn State on the road is Oregon's best win. I'm sorry.
Number 8, Texas Tech. Number 7, BYU.
There you go.
I put Tech ahead of BYU in my rankings because Tech destroyed Utah on the road, and BYU beat them close.
Except BYU hasn't lost, Chris. This is literally the only case.
At least they will settle this on the field and playing next week.
The Texas Tech loss was very much not good. They didn't have their quarterback. That matters.
Number 6, Ole Miss. Okay. So ultimately, nothing here the only 2 things that have surprised me are Utah being so high. And, well, if Utah is 13, how does Tech not go ahead of BYU for destroying them on the road versus beating them? Whatever.
I mean, it's just as simple as they haven't lost, Chris. It is interesting that you have 2 lost Miami and 2 lost Notre Dame, to your point, separated by 8 spots. because Miami lost twice in the last 3 weeks, and Notre Dame lost their first 2. Were they 0-2? They still lost their first 2 games, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So. All right, number 5, Georgia. Number 4, Alabama. Number 3, Texas A&M. So the question is, who's number 1?
I think it's going to be Indiana. The Iowa point is a good one. 2 top 20 wins. If you have them with 2 top 20 wins, like what is the case for Ohio State at number 1? Like I don't know
looked
what it
good.
is.
They didn't even. By the way, Indiana beat Illinois worse than Ohio State did too.
Yeah. Like when are these times? You can say that Ohio State's looked good. When are these times that Indiana has not looked good? I'm very curious when that happened. I missed those games. I don't know.
Well, I guess not. Number 2, Indiana. All right. I don't get it. I see no consistency. Number 1, Ohio State. It ultimately does not matter because they're going to play each other in the Big Ten championship, assuming Ohio State does not lose to Michigan.
Yeah, and like there is an element of the Big Ten, like when you're in SEC country, when you're in ACC country, when you're in the Pac-12, like what major bowl you got really mattered. But Indiana and Ohio State, it doesn't really matter where they end up going, right? If you go to a semifinal spot, it's like, there's nowhere that's going to give them an inherent advantage. It's not like playing Miami in the Orange Bowl or Oklahoma or Texas, in the Cotton Bowl, stuff like that.
Okay, I need to find the full list here so I can.
Chris, we got another guy that just got into college football. Like, who are these people? Why does our show have all these people that are getting into college football for the first time? It's very odd.
Okay, so Kalmaki, is that right, David? Kalmaki.
I mean, that's what he says.
Small town in South Africa where I live recently got into college football because it's similar to university rugby here. We got a lot of international people finding the sport and finding the show, so welcome. All right, so here's the bracket. Your buys are Ohio State, Indiana, Texas A&M, Alabama. Your home teams are Ole Miss, Georgia, Texas Tech, BYU. Memphis is the highest ranked G5. Not a surprise. So it'd be Memphis at Georgia, winner plays Bama. Oregon at Texas Tech, winner plays Ohio State. Virginia at Ole Miss, winner plays A&M. Notre Dame at BYU, winner plays Indiana. We don't need to break down the games, obviously, because those aren't happening. But I need to find.
By the way, on the South Africa, I was in the building about 20 feet away when Retief Goosen missed a 3-footer to win the U.S. Open in 2001. So, shout out to South Africa. That was a rough one. Chris, you know who Ernie Els?
That's not a good.
Goosen are?
Yeah, of course I know who they are. I know golf.
I'm just asking. All right.
Okay, so we've got the full team. We got the full bracket here. David, do we want to do kind of an overall thoughts?
Yeah, let's
send that off and
maybe
put it on
the feed tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. We might put this on the feed. All right, let me get my rankings up, and then we can react accordingly. Okay. All right. So we're just gonna for people listening live, we're gonna start the podcast part of it now. So, all right, here we go. Welcome to Bunch Formation, your new favorite college football show. I am Chris Vannini. He is David Ubben. We've just watched the reveal of the first top 25 college football playoff rankings. David, did it live up to all your hopes and dreams?
I got to be honest, I missed the dramatic sweeping shots of the placemats, the computer monitors buzzing. We didn't get quite as much of the pomp and circumstance. We didn't get the committee room going dark mode. There was no light show or fog or smoke machine. But ultimately, we got a no frills ranking and a no frills top 25, I think. There was nothing that really knocked my socks off. I think my biggest takeaway is the committee respects the Big 12. And I don't understand how you have Ohio State over Indiana, even though Ohio State's probably a better team.
So here's the rankings. If you haven't seen it yet, I'll just read it real quick. Number 1, Ohio State. 2, Indiana. 3, Texas A&M. 4, Alabama. 5, Georgia. 6, Ole Miss. 7, BYU. 8, Texas Tech. 9, Oregon. 10, Notre Dame. 11, Texas. Oklahoma, Utah, Virginia, Louisville. Vanderbilt, Georgia Tech, Miami at 18. USC, Iowa at 20, Michigan, Missouri, Washington, Pitt, Tennessee. And let's start at the top. Ohio State number 1, Indiana number 2. It does not matter because these teams are almost certainly going to play each other in the Big Ten championship and it will get sorted out.
Yeah.
But I do not see the case for Ohio State at number 1. I have had Indiana at number 1 in my rankings for a few weeks now, ever since Indiana went to Oregon. And when you look at the resumes, Indiana's got 2 better wins, right? Because you've got, I'm sorry, no, not two, but it's got two top 20 wins because they won at Oregon, who's number 9, and they won at Iowa, who's number 20. Ohio State's best win is home against Texas, who's number 11. I don't see the case other than it's Ohio State. They look great. They're playing amazing. But if they weren't that brand and they hadn't won the national championship last year, I don't think they're number 1.
Well, tell me this isn't a recruiting ranking, right? You can look at the talent composite. You can look at the recruiting rankings and say, well, obviously the team with a top 3 roster is better than Indiana's team talent composite is like 14th in the Big 12 or Big 10 or something like that.
It's very low. Yeah.
Yeah. And so like, based on what we've seen on television, if you're not a YouTube TV subscriber, and based on what they have actually done, it's pretty close. Indiana has been certainly about as dominant, and they've played a better schedule. So, like you said, I don't know how much you want to dig into it, and it doesn't really matter that much, but it is weirdly inconsistent because it feels like an eye test or a recruiting ranking rating here. And I'm certainly, Mac Rhodes, former Houston, he's still at Baylor, right? Baylor AD.
Yes. Yep.
Will be the chair. He'll be the pin cushion for people to get mad at.
Oh yeah,
unenviable job. He is on TV as we speak. I'm sure he'll be asked that in the teleconference a little bit later, maybe on TV. I'd be interested to hear it. I don't know what the case is, other than just we watch them and we think Ohio State's better. And if that's the case, okay. But I think when you start going down that road, you get into some really dangerous territory.
And we don't have the CFP's metrics, but Ohio State's strength of schedule is 33, Indiana's 39. So like it's the same strength of schedule. And Indiana is actually 1 spot ahead in strength of record, number 2 versus number 3. So like it's all very close. And again, it does not matter. They'll play. I don't want to be too up in arms about it, but if we'll see. So Iowa plays Oregon this week. I may inadvertently have a negative effect on Indiana's ranking moving forward. If Oregon blows them out of the water, they lose a top 20 win, but then the Oregon win looks better, so that's kind of a weird.
That game's in Eugene. No, it's in Iowa City.
No, it's in Iowa City. And Indiana, they have Penn State. They're at Penn State this week. So there's another data point to compare.
Yeah.
Ohio State.
Sam Callan asked if talent ranking is a factor in the rankings. No, none of that stuff is. Strength of schedule, margin of victory, all that stuff is. There's nothing outside the lines that is factored.
Yeah. Okay. So it's ultimately not a change because Ohio State is number 1 in the polls. I really think Indiana's resume is better right now. It might change, but you've got 2 road wins against top 20 teams. I don't know if anybody else, even else in the top, even anybody else in the country has it. I'm not sure. I need to look.
I don't think so.
So anyway, it'll sort itself out.
Maybe UCLA.
The other notable change, the other notable bit, Utah at number 13.
With 2 losses and not a lot of good wins.
Losses. Yep. Well, they just destroyed Cincinnati. It was a top 25 win.
Well, no, it's not.
Well, yeah, you're right. It's not now.
Well, that's all that matters. Now is all that matters. We've learned this with the committee.
Because they've lost to BYU by 3. They got blown out by Texas Tech. Other wins, Colorado, Arizona State, I think without Sam Leavitt, West Virginia, Wyoming, Cal Poly. Like, I don't see it for Utah. Like, I think they're a good team when they're on their best. But Utah up at number 13 for what? Destroying a team that's not even in your top 25 now.
Yeah, I need to look at the
in a blowout home loss.
full rankings here. Is damn, I can't sit here and find the full rankings. Is Utah the highest 2-loss team?
No, Notre Dame.
Notre Dame at
Notre
10,
Dame is.
and Utah's
Yeah.
at 13. Okay, all right.
So I would really like some explanation on the Utah front, but it does set up the Big 12.
2 and 3
big
bids is in
territory.
play. 2 is
Yeah,
more
because-
realistic, but 3 is certainly on the table.
Because you got BYU at Texas Tech this weekend. I think
Mm-hmm.
if you're the Big 12, you want BYU to win out and then somebody beat them in the Big 12 championship game. Basically, kind of the SMU Clemson situation from last year. But, I mean, who does Utah play rest of the way? Utah's remaining schedule: Baylor, Kansas State, Kansas. So, like,
yeah, it should be fine.
Good shot that Baylor ends up at Utah ends up at 10-2.
Well,
and at that point, like,
I mean, at Baylor, at Kansas, can't say all losable games, but certainly they're losable in all 3.
But like, if they win out, there's a real shot they're in the field. Is what I mean. So,
oh yeah, I mean, I would be shocked if they weren't. I mean, listen, there's going to be losses. There's going to be plenty of people losing ahead of them. Utah can easily say, like, if you win out, you're definitely in. Let me look at the rankings in the state. You're probably, you're almost certainly not going to the Big 12 title game. But if you win out, I think you're in.
Yeah, I don't. Well, it depends what happens over the weekend, whether or not they make the Big 12 championship game. So Utah, very surprising, but Utah's in a good spot.
You're forgetting Cincinnati's still ahead of them, though, Chris.
Oh, they are?
They have 2 one conference loss.
Yeah, Utah's not going to the Big 12.
No.
Utah's probably not going to the Big 12 championship game. And they're
Which
13.
They should probably like that, yeah.
Yeah, that's probably good for you. So, all right.
Mm-hmm.
Notre Dame, number 10, highest ranked 2-loss team. If they win out, they're in. I don't love this. And we'll tie it into relative number 18, Miami. In my feeling is that Notre Dame and Miami are on the same general level. And they've played each other and Miami won. And I think Miami should be ahead of Notre Dame. Miami has lost, 2 of their last 3 or 4 games.
I mean, Chris, does it not matter to you? 1, they played in Miami. 2, they played the first game of the year with Notre Dame breaking in a new quarterback. And Notre Dame's playing much better football now. You don't care about this?
I do not care when the game took place. I do not
care
if it was your quarterback's first game.
Contextual.
No,
we only have Penn State earlier. No, you are not giving Oregon credit for a Penn State road win. The Penn State that currently exists is not the Penn State.
What about the Penn State that existed the week after that game? The same Penn State went and lost to UCLA and Northwestern.
Do you think that if Penn State beats Oregon in that game, they lose to UCLA? I
don't know. They had not been good all year. Anyway,
I watched that game and I said Penn State, flaws and all, is a really good team. And then
we don't need to talk about this much about a Penn State team that is terrible. And we're done.
You kind of do, because that's what we're talking about. You're besmirching Oregon. I'm out here defending Oregon's honor.
Miami. Well, we'll talk about Oregon in a second. Miami, their 2 losses are by both by 1 score, 1 in overtime.
2 average teams.
Louisville's a top 15 team in these rankings.
Also, I watched the football games, Chris. I respect the ranking. Louisville is an average football team.
But like, if you want to be like, well, it was Notre Dame's first game, blah, blah, blah. Well, if the refs don't pick up a flag against SMU late in regulation, Miami wins that game and it's over. Like, that's how close Miami was to that whole thing. If we're going to do this and that. So I think Notre Dame's resume is a win over USC and nothing else.
Yeah.
Their next best win is, I think, NC State, because they've beaten BC, NC State, Boise, Purdue, Arkansas. That's it. They have 1 win over USC at home. That's it. Miami has the win over Notre Dame. And who else does Miami have here? Florida's fallen off, but they have a win. They have the dominant win over USF. We'll talk about the G5 in a minute. But you've got a 7-2 or whatever USF team that they destroyed, and Florida and whatnot. So like, Notre Dame's resume is not good. I think Notre Dame is just there because they have 2 close losses that happened at the beginning of the season. If they lose those games in the middle of the season or last week, they are not number 10
Well,
Like,
here's the thing with Notre Dame, though, Chris. Okay, the resume is not great, but they've played a bunch of pretty good sort of teams. Okay, like Florida is not good; they're not a tin can. Florida State, they've had a bunch of losses, but they're not a tin can.
Wait, who are
Like,
you talking about? That's Miami's schedule.
I'm talking about Miami. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Excuse me, Notre Dame. Excuse me. Let me go back to Notre Dame. Anyway, Notre Dame, they have not played like bad teams, but they've been dominant against pretty good teams. You know, Arkansas.
Not against Boston College.
Well, that's the first time they've done it. Boise, pretty good. They were dominant in that game. NC
No,
State,
Boise
that's
just
a
lost
pretty
to
good
Fresno.
team. I'm just saying. My point is they've been dominant against like functional teams. They're not out here playing like Akron every week or UMass.
You can't
they're
say
playing
that after
functional teams.
They just struggled with Boston College, dude.
I know that, but I'm looking at the totality of their resume. The totality of the resume says
you're
that
not
they
looking
have
at the
been
first game of the
dominant
season.
against okay teams.
So like, if you have to have, if you're not going to put Miami over Notre Dame, you have to have them far apart. Like I talked to Nicole Auerbach about this over the weekend as we were kind of putting together our ballots and stuff. And Miami finishes with Syracuse, NC State, Virginia Tech, Pitt.
Mm-hmm.
NC State could get you, Pitt could get you. Like it just feels like Miami 10-2 now. You win out, you're not in. I do not see a path for a Miami that wins out and gets in. Do you?
I mean, it's college football, Chris. They're going to need some help. They're going to need some losses, but they could get it. I mean, it's also the ACC. Like, do you really trust the ACC to not eat its own and trip and fall and let Miami get to Charlotte? Like, the
problem is
the path is chaos above them, which in this season I'm not ruling it out. Certainly, it's easy to look at it and say, well, I don't know how it's going to happen, and then the ball kicks off every Saturday afternoon and we get mayhem. So that's the path for Miami. Of course, they're going to need help, but Miami just got to focus on winning games. It's going to be tight. I think that's fair where they're at. It's a little low, but the resume that they have, I think, you got the one win, but other than that, hadn't been great.
I mean, they destroyed the USF destroyed USF, who destroyed Boise, who Notre Dame beat.
That's what I'm saying.
Like
they have like
Boise
I
win
respect
means
the I respect the USF win. I'm not so sure the committee does.
No, and let's talk about the group of 5 there.
Okay,
nobody in the top 25. Memphis is the highest, given the number 12 seed.
Mm-hmm.
It ultimately does not surprise me. The committee has always ranked group of 5 teams lower than the polls.
Mm-hmm.
And you and I have both done the mock committee where you sit in the room and they give you the data and you see how it's color coded and you look at it. And every time you get to a lot of times when you get to the group of 5 teams, you just see a
lot of red.
Yeah, a lot of red. A lot of wins against bad teams. Memphis has the loss to UAB, and their best win is now it's USF because they beat USF. And like Arkansas, like that's it. So I'm not surprised the G5 isn't in. I do think if you were to expand those ratings out, they'd be pretty close.
Yeah, this is also the one year where I don't know that there's a G5 team that I'm like, standing on the soapbox for. It's like I like the top of the American. I think those are quality teams, but I don't feel like any of them are that disrespected. Like Memphis, the Arkansas win feels huge, but you're also still talking about an Arkansas team that hasn't beaten an SEC team this year, as close as they've been. So like, it is what the American race is compelling. And I think it's as deep as the league has ever been, but it doesn't have that Cincinnati, that UCF, that team that is being disrespected by the committee.
They needed Memphis to not go and lose to UAB without Trent
as coach. And Tulane getting rolled by UTSA, that didn't help either.
Well, yeah, Tulane would have had the best resume because they've beaten Duke and they've beaten Northwestern.
Yeah,
and they got blown out by Ole Miss, which is fine. But then you do what happened against UTSA last weekend. Yeah. So, you'll have people probably like Danny Cannell, I think, tweet a couple weeks ago, like, should a G5 team be in the field? Yada, yada. Like, yes dude. Should. Like, yes, it's 12 teams. It's more than enough. I do not want to hear complaining from these 3 lost teams that are going to eventually miss the field. You can give up one spot. We're going to
There's a lot of people out there who feel that way, though. And I just think access is so important. You can't start a season when half the teams in the 136 don't legitimately have a shot to get in the field. The G5 race, There's plenty of room. I'm fine with it the way it is. But when you are a G5 team and you start, I mean, this has been my biggest beef with college football for as long as I've watched it, is that half the teams, when you start the season, you can win all your games and you don't get a chance to play for the national championship. And that changed basically last year for the first time in our lives, that you would have a guaranteed shot to compete for a national championship. And that is so important to the sport. And so I'm good with it. You have to have that access, period.
We got Memphis Tulane Friday night will be a lot of fun. UTSA USF. American Rice is going to be a lot of fun. JMU and San Diego State maybe not out of it exactly, but
yeah, JMU is like the second in Austin Mock's model. JMU is like the second highest odds. I don't know how he quite got there, but they're sniffing around. I will see. I mean, I don't think they'll get there, but the numbers are interesting.
It's because their only loss was to Louisville by I think 14 points. And so it's a perfectly fine loss to have.
So here we go, Chris. I have the CFP finally sent out the email on that. I had that 2-loss thing. So yeah, Utah is actually the 4th highest ranked 2-loss team.
Yeah,
but ahead of Virginia with 1 loss, ahead of Louisville with 1 loss. Like that's kind of what I wanted to see is the rankings with the loss totals, and I couldn't find that anywhere, and I have it in my email now because that gives you a pretty good indication of how they view teams. Like Vanderbilt with 2 losses ahead of Georgia Tech with 1 is super interesting.
Yeah. Sam notes last year Clemson was 23 in the first ranking and made it. And yeah, the path for Miami would be because Clemson backed into the ACC championship.
Yeah, I don't really care about that. The question I know what I'm saying. No.
I'm saying no. He's saying the point is relevant to Miami, that Miami still has a shot to make it by basically ACC chaos gets them to Charlotte. As happened to Clemson last year, which is fair. Real quick. So on Oregon, we'll get back to this because we were talking about it before we were doing this part of the show. Oregon at number 9. I have no problem with this. I had them at where did I have them? I have them at 9 as well in my rankings because they have no good wins. Their best win is Northwestern on the road. They've also beaten Rutgers, Penn State in overtime, who's not any good anymore. Oregon State, Wisconsin, Oklahoma State, Montana State. Like there's no good wins here. And so Oregon is there because they're a 1-loss Power 4 team. And we think they're good. I think Oregon is good, but we don't know much about them because all we really saw was the Penn State game, which we thought was a big deal. Turned out it's not.
It was a big deal, but okay.
The Indiana game that they lost. Oregon at Iowa this weekend. I think the game I'm most excited about. We'll talk about it on the preview episode.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting. Yeah.
It might be. So our Scott Docterman was telling us chances of snow as well. So that's a real test there for Oregon. And we'll see. We'll see as they kind of finish the schedule if they're legit. They have Iowa and I think USC and Washington still to play. So Oregon will be tested. We just don't know yet. They have their opportunities. Same thing with Texas, who came in at number 11, I think they did. Do I think Texas is the 11th best team in the country? Like, no, but
I don't know, maybe.
But they have the win over Oklahoma. You got to put them ahead of Oklahoma, and they've got Georgia, A&M still to play. So they'll if they're in, they will have earned their spot. It'll sort itself out. Was there anyone else we really wanted to talk about in the rankings?
No, I think what I wrote about this weekend is coming to fruition, that Texas and or Oklahoma could probably be the test case for the 9-3 SEC situation. But you look at those two teams, they're with 2 losses. They're ahead of 1-loss teams, Virginia, Louisville, Georgia Tech, all from the ACC, not ahead of any of the 1-loss Big 12 teams. Texas and Oklahoma are 3 and 4 spots behind Texas Tech with 1 loss, and BYU up. BYU is undefeated, so it is what it is. BYU has not looked good. BYU is definitely not the 7th best team in the country, but they're defeated. They have some quality wins. Then they deserve everything they've gotten so far this year.
So here's a good question from Sam Callan. Of last year's top 12 in the first ranking last year, 10 of the 12 made it. Only BYU and Alabama did not. So which teams currently in the top 12 do you think will not make it? And I will say Texas. I'll go Texas because I think the
Oregon and Texas are on the top. Oregon and Texas are on the top of my list because I think Oklahoma loses to Bama, and I think they beat Mizzou and LSU, and then it's going to be close. It's going to be really close.
The other one I think would be one of potentially BYU and Texas Tech. If Texas Tech loses this game, a second loss, that'll be 2 conference losses.
Yeah.
That could be hard to climb back in, both to the Big 12 championship
Cincinnati
game
have
or
the
as
rest
an
of the way,
at-large.
though.
I don't know who Cincinnati has. In terms of like who's least, like we had already said a couple weeks ago, Ohio State.
Cincinnati has Arizona, BYU, and at TCU. So BYU, Cincinnati do still have to play. So
Yes.
BYU could hand Cincinnati their second loss.
Ohio State, we agreed a couple weeks ago, a lock. Indiana is a lock. Texas A&M, we still think lock?
Yeah, because they're probably only losing at most 2 games.
And they've got the win over Notre Dame, so like,
yeah, they'll be fine.
Yeah, and then
as close to a lock as you can get.
I'm not ready to call Alabama or Georgia a lock.
No,
but I do think Ole Miss is a lock because they have
Alabama's got LSU, Oklahoma, the mighty Eastern Illinois, and then at Auburn in the Iron Bowl. Like, Bama, be careful.
Alabama's close. Alabama's close to a lock.
Yeah.
But Ole Miss finishes with Citadel, Florida, Mississippi State.
Yes.
I think you can probably lose one of those and be okay.
Yes. I don't think they will, but they can definitely lose one and probably not be sweating it.
Yeah.
And I think it's important to note also that it's better to lose to bad teams, quite frankly. Like, you don't want to lose your mammoth matchups because that you lose an opportunity to impress the committee. They care about more who you beat. So if you just coast in, you lose all your big games, you go full Penn State. That's an issue for you in the committee's eyes. But if you beat, a top 10 team and then lose to Mississippi State, that's better for you in the playoff era. And, people can say that about that what they want, but it's 1000% the reality of what we have with the committee. And they've been consistent about that for the 11 something years that they've been doing this.
So Georgia, not a lock either. They got Texas and Georgia Tech still. BYU, Texas Tech, not a lock. Oregon, not a lock. Notre Dame, not a lock either because they've got Pitt in 2 weeks at Pitt,
and they just got in a fist fight with Boston College.
Yes. So
what's up, Trevor?
That Bill O'Brien comment at the press conference. Upset about the media being negative. Incredible.
Chris, I'm afraid
we need to make that a drop.
What's up, Trevor? Be the next drop of the show. Like,
remind me.
One of us gets angry. That's the official end of the segment. What's up, Trevor?
Tonight after recording, I'll try to make it a drop that we can add to the show for Thursday. So overall, the rankings. There's only one thing I think was remotely controversial. 2
Miami and Notre Dame.
Really 2. Miami being so low. Miami being so low and Utah being so high. That's it. I think Indiana should be ahead of Ohio State. I think it's pretty clear. I understand the case, and it ultimately doesn't matter. Miami being this low matters because it is very, very. It is looking a lot harder for them now to
get an at-large. They're going to need a bunch of help. Doesn't really matter what they do; they need help.
Yeah, I tell you what. When I was in the press conference room at SMU with the Miami people, that was like one of the saddest scenes I've ever been. Like, everybody on that Miami team was like quiet, soft-spoken. Like, they truly seemed shocked and realized how
we should do that on our staff.
That was
the saddest post games we've ever been a part of.
Yeah,
it's bad ones. It's the bad ones.
But anything else ranking wise? If you're listening to this on the audio feed after the fact, we went live on Tuesday night as the ranking show happened. So if you want to watch the first half of this, the whole thing's on the YouTube channel, Bunch Formation under the live tab. You can rewatch the whole thing. But the second half of it, we chopped off. We put in the audio feed for you guys. We're going to try to do this every week for the playoff rankings. When the show goes live on ESPN, we are also going live. So we are reacting to it in the moment. Got a good amount of people in there watching it live. Good amount of people in the chat, the comments. Appreciate everybody doing that. having fun with this. Just kind of wanted to talk it out. Figure we'll throw it up on the feed. So subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't yet. And if you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe on your podcast feed to the show as well. So, David, anything else?
Committee top 15. Bring back the turnover chain.